All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Kingj, and this. Thank you. And this is Celeste. Celeste is one of the most well-known speed games out there. It's built for speedrunning, has a lot of really cool movement and really cool skips in it, and overall it's just one of my favorite games of all time. So this game is very movement heavy. We're doing True Ending, which means we're going to beat Chapter 9. It was a DLC chapter that was added later on for free, and it is very difficult. So we are going to see the true ending of the game and the true ending to the story. I'm going to go over a little bit of movement at the beginning here. Oh, also, I have a commentator. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. I am Prof. Joining you here today for some True Ending gameplay. Very excited for this.
For sure. So I'm going to go over a little bit of just general movement, just because this game goes by so quick and there's going to be so much to explain, so just getting this over with is probably the best idea. So we can jump. It's a 2D platformer, precision platformer. You can jump, you can dash in any 8 directions. And then, so now we get into speed tech. We can do something called a super by dashing and jumping at the same time, just like that. So that gives a little bit of speed when you see that little wave boost. And then we can also do a hyper by crouching, holding like down left or down right, and then doing a super. So that is a hyper dash. And then we can also do a wave dash by dashing into the ground and then jumping like this. And then all of those dashes, we can retain our dash and keep it so that we have another dash in the air afterwards by just waiting a couple frames after we first do the dash. So I can do that with a super like that. I can do that with a hyper, and I can also do that with a wave dash. So whenever you see Madeline's hair, whenever it's red, that means we still have a dash to use. The other thing is a wall bounce by dashing up and then jumping against the wall. We can get a big boost upwards. You're going to be seeing that a lot in vertical sections. And then we can also do something called a demo dash. I have a button for it, but it's by crouching and then changing the direction of your dash after you held crouch initially for it. So it would be like that. You can see the crouching animation during it. That's going to be important for later. I'm not going to go too into it right now. And then the last thing, this is the main thing for like speed, is something called an ultra. So that's by chaining 2 dashes together in a diagonal, so going like that. And that's a lot of speed. So this game's a lot about conserving your speed and chaining this kind of movement together. There's only 3 buttons really in this run, and we're going to be using those to our full ability. So I think we're good to go in the run now. I'm just going to make my file. Is there any file name you guys want? Can someone yell something out? You know, I like woo. let's. There you go. Awesome. All right. If we're good on, I think we're good to go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Oh wait, sorry, my bad. I totally forgot. 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. Okay. So like
jumping into prologue. Quick explanation for prologue. We just jump a lot here because jumping happens to be the slightest bit faster than just walking. And aside from that, it's really just get quick cutscene skips as well.
Yeah, also I messed up the typing at the beginning there. For some reason I said go when I created my file name. I forgot that was a thing. But again, we go by in-game time, so it actually doesn't really matter. As you can see in the top left, we have a timer for the full file, and then we also have a chapter timer. So we time everything by in-game time. RTA doesn't really matter to us on the leaderboard. Also, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, if anything looks cool to you guys at all, any cool movement, just like applaud. This game is really cool, and whenever we chain stuff together, it feels really awesome. So again, if you like something, yeah, feel free to show it.
All right, so just to briefly talk about the one interesting mechanic about City here, we got these zip movers that you will occasionally see coming into play, as well as some dash crystals. The dash crystals, you can get your dash back just in midair by dashing through them. And the zip movers, as you can see, you can be pushing you around quite a bit. Sometimes we get to skip them entirely, though. Just depends on how certain rooms are set up. We also have things like the crumble blocks, which are disappearing beneath your feet. But, you know, none of these are really too big of problems with all the extra movement that we have available to us. We really can just blaze through these chapters sometimes.
Yeah, like I said, this game goes by very quick once we get started. As you can see, we're just blazing through Chapter 1. And right here we're going to do a spike jump. There we go, nice. And that's just by jumping on the corner of a spike and then jumping off of it. And there we go, that's Chapter 1, just done like that. Nice.
An easy, good start.
I'll take a 111, that's pretty good. No deaths, and that's the main thing. Dying at the beginning, that would have been rough.
Alright, and heading into Chapter 2, Old Site here. A mechanic that's going to come up not immediately. Oh wait, actually, I forgot to mention, at the very beginning here, first of all, we're dashing back and forth across this transition to go up top here to get a secret blue heart. The reason we need any hearts at all is because to get into the post-game section, there's this Chapter 8 is called the Core. You need 4 hearts to open the heart gate to even play that level. So this is just one of the hearts that we get along the way there. But what I was meaning to talk about, though, for the mechanic present in Old Site here, you'll see these kind of inert blocks that, like the kind of grayish blocks beforehand, are going to come alive as dream blocks. And when we dash through those, we get our dash back, we can jump out the other side, we can do hypers out the other side sometimes too. So there's some pretty cool movement that you can see coming out of these blocks right here already.
Yeah, did you want to explain the cutscene thing that we did there? There's actually like no glitches in this game, but that's like the only like kinda glitch, sort of, not really.
Yes, of course. So the moment that King activated the dream blocks there was a dash just up into a spot where
I'm gonna go for this, why not? Oh, okay, now.
Oh,
I didn't get it.
Not quite. No problem, just the tiny little skips. But at the activation of the dream blocks, there's this little skip where in cutscenes, your vertical position is saved when you skip the cutscene, but not your horizontal. Your horizontal will get moved to where the end of the cutscene was, so you started outside of the block on the side of it, skipped the cutscene immediately, and got moved into it way back there. But now we're in the battle and chase. We're battling, you know, we just completely outrun her practically this whole time, but she's copying all of your movement behind you, so there's occasional times you gotta watch out for her.
Yeah, and again, like, the first 2 chapters go by really quick. Next chapter is where the game really starts like picking up in both difficulty and length. So the chapters will start getting a little bit longer. And yeah, just like that, Battle Line Chase is over.
Now we're into the harmless part of Old Site here, coming up on a section called Awake right after this cutscene skip up here. Really movement heavy because you can't die, so you just get a bit of movement dense portion of the game right here.
Yeah, we also try to chain as many ultras as we can to keep our speed. The TAS in this is crazy when they do this part.
Yeah, the tool-assisted speedrun of Celeste, for anyone who has not seen, flies through almost everything at impossible speed, so would recommend checking that out at some point if you have not.
Yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, this is definitely where the difficulty spike comes from the base game. Chapter 3 is really where people start finding it gets very hard.
Yeah, and the big reason for that, at least in the casual playthrough, is you'll see these dust bunnies here have cycles where they're moving back and forth as obstacles rather than just being stationary like things pretty much were before, except for Battlein, of course. And having these moving obstacles all over the rooms adds a lot of extra difficulty in a precision platformer, but thankfully, as speedrunners, we are very practiced getting through them.
So shout out to that berry. We're going to be getting 2 berries in this run. They are completely optional, but they are just in our way, so we're going to be getting 2 of them. And again, just
the other
skipping this here.
One of the mechanics for Resort here, we will occasionally have key doors that we're going to have to get the key for. That's going to come into play in the next major checkpoint in about like a minute here, where at the very center of a huge mess you will have one key that we got to dig out of there.
And once again, you can just see how useful it is. Like, again, the game doesn't expect us to use 2 dashes to clear gaps, so we can skip a lot of rooms and do rooms in very unintended ways. But again, this game was built with speedrunning in mind, so it's still kind of intended. Also, shoutouts to the devs, because they're, like I said, they're super speedrun friendly. We literally found Demo Dash by accident, which is going to be a thing used in this chapter, and instead of, you know, patching it out like other companies would, they actually like made a button for it and made it easier to do. So all right, so now we're into what's called a huge mess, or a big mess. So we're doing these in a little bit different order than any percent. We had to hit 3 buttons, and it's really cool because whichever buttons you hit, it clears those pieces of platforms on the ground. We're doing this in a specific order because of something coming up. Oh, whoops, that was interesting. I thought I dashed correctly. But we'll explain it in a second. It's to get the heart in this chapter. So here I'm going to die on purpose just because it skips the button animation. I have to go to the right anyways. And then we're going to go ahead and backtrack back to get the heart. So after each of these sections, you would normally have to talk to Oshiro to open up the way to the next area. But because of the way... Alright then. Because of the way that checkpoints work when you enter a room, it's going to place you, if you die in that room, it's going to place you in the... like closest possible, like what the game would consider an entrance to that room. So the game doesn't expect you to go down here and then go back up. So if I die, it just brings me up here and I skip an Oshiro cutscene, and that saves about 8 seconds. And that's why we do that route.
A quick donation read from the Professor, $15, with a comment of, "Hey King, you dropped your crown. Thanks for being an awesome friend at Pace, and shout out to Flags."
Oh, we'll get there.
Thank you very much for that, the Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Alright, so nearly out of huge mess here. Only one more section to go.
I love that room. That
we
room's
gotta
really
get the key.
cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really fun having some of the rooms where you can enter with some really fast movement to get like a cycle ahead.
Yeah, right here we're going to do another spike jump. This one's a little bit weirder. Oh, whoops. Whoops.
And just to briefly explain how that one works, if you are moving in the same direction of that kind of spike, the same direction that they're pointed, they don't actually kill you. They only kill you if you're moving into them or like with perfectly 0 speed and you're on top of them. So if you're moving their same direction as the spikes, you're just fine.
Yeah. Alright, and now we're into elevator shafts. Whoops. Okay, my movement's been very all over the place. Alright, we're good. This is gonna sound weird, but I'm actually like used to a little bit of like delay in my controller because of how my monitor at home is. So it's actually surprising that I have 0.
Less input delay here than your usual.
It's like
that's an interesting mix-up.
Yeah. Okay, so right here, this is Demo Dash. I'm gonna need to focus on this. It is pretty precise. Whoops. Come on. No, I thought that was it. Nice. Okay.
Awesome.
Good. So we just dashed through dust bunnies. How does that work? Tell us that, Prof.
So, it just so happens that with the Demo Dash, as it's called, you get a crouching sprite while you're dashing horizontally. Your crouching hitbox is only 4 pixels tall, and there are some gaps that are exactly 4 pixels in width. So that happens to be one of the gaps right there, and you can just dash that entire obstacle if you line up a Demo Dash just right, pixel perfect.
Yeah, and now we have Oshiro. So Oshiro is the guy that owns the this hotel that we're currently in, and he gets very upset here, and now he's going to chase us out to end this chapter. But yeah, no, maybe I'm just imagining it, but it feels like 0.1 less seconds of delay, which is like weird to me. But I'm getting used to it. We're good. Okay, I'm just gonna wait down here. That was very awkward timing I was not used to. And there we go, nice. And that's
Nice.
chapter 3.
Yeah, impressive picking up some of the differences in setup and running with it pretty well here. 'Cause some of this does get really precise in this game.
Yeah. But yeah, demo dash is like one of the things I always worry about doing in marathons. I struggled with it when I showed off any percent at last pace, so I'm glad I got a second try there.
All right, and coming into Golden Ridge here now, we have a few new mechanics going on, namely the clouds and the green bubbles you'll see here. The clouds you can jump off of, or sometimes do even some types of extended dashes off of them. The bubbles act pretty much as just another dash in midair, stationary for you to get. And then also the much hated sometimes in casual playthroughs wind mechanic here. I think it's pretty interesting, and there are some fun ways to work with it in the speedrun though in particular.
Yeah, it's mainly the reason that most people hate it is because of the ending of this chapter. Also,
Oh yeah, the wind really picks up towards the end in Cliff Face, as it's called.
Yeah. Right there we did demo dash into the bubble. If you demo dash into a bubble, once again it just makes your hitbox. Whoops. Okay, good backup. It makes again your hitbox smaller, so we can go against those spikes there.
Yeah, it's like an interesting thing where when you go into a bubble with a crouched hitbox, it actually moves it up a couple pixels. I don't know the exact details of why. I think it has something to do with like the center of your hitbox inside of it. Oh, and here, by the way, we have an Easter egg from Super Mario Brothers 3, I believe it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Where we enter the background there to go and get the this blue heart. So now we have three hearts
Yeah.
out of the 4 that we're going to need for entering core after Summit.
Yeah, and you may be thinking like, oh, I played Chapter 9, I played Farewell, and you needed way more than 4 hearts, and don't worry, we have a way to get past that, thankfully. Right here, we're going to skip this auto-scroller because it's boring. There we go, nice.
Yeah, we skip as many auto-scrollers as we can. Sometimes it's tougher than other times, but whenever we can get away with it, it is a nice chunk of time save.
Yeah. Alright, right here is a really cool extended. There we go. To just we had to get an
Nice.
extended off a cloud, which is a little more awkward than you may expect. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, with the clouds moving up and down and you having to have like a precise timing to get both like a vertical boost out of it and get sent to the side can be pretty tough, but well done.
Alright, and there we go. Nice. Sadly, so this auto-scroller does have a way to skip it. I'm just really bad at it. I've done it before. It's not worth it.
Yeah, to be fair, it is one of the hardest auto-scroller skips in the game.
Yeah.
So in a marathon setting, no problem not going with that, or not going with it.
I don't think I've ever done it in a run in general, so just ILs. Yeah, I'm doing a lot more safety strats than I normally would, just because, again, I wanna show off some cool stuff, but I also don't want to go. I still want to get a good time.
All right, now we are in Cliff Face with the wind picking up quite a bit more here.
Yeah, and there also is going to be something throwing snowballs here. You can bounce off them to regain your dash, or you can run into them and get killed. So many different possibilities here.
Cut it close right there.
Yeah, a little bit close there. That's how I actually normally do that room. It's very sketchy the way I do it, but it works.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
And this has been a pretty good chapter 4, honestly. I think I had
Yeah,
one
going pretty smooth.
slip up. Yeah. And just one more there, and there we go.
Nice to have the wind work
Nice.
with you for just at least a little bit.
Yeah. So for Chapter 5, we're going to be doing something interesting. There are the A sides, which you're normally seeing, the regular story sides of each level. Then there's the B sides, which are the more difficult sides of each level, where they get progressively more challenging and introduce new mechanics and stuff like that. So at the end of each B side, though, we also get a heart. So And by beating the B-sides, the game doesn't check if you've beaten the A-sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to unlock the B-side for Chapter 5 here, and we're going to go ahead and just beat that instead, because 1, it's faster, and then 2, it also gives us our 4th heart that we need. Okay, that was very tight, by the way. A lot of this I'm making it seem a lot easier than it actually is. That's the beauty of Celeste, is that like watching top runners and like people who have played the game for years and stuff like that. A lot of this may look super simple, but if you try to do some of it, your first time playing, it's not going to go as smooth.
Yeah, having the some of the basic tech of the game be just like 5-frame inputs is stuff that you can get used to when you've played for a long time, but for the first time around, it does take a while to get to master for sure.
Yeah. Whoops. Accidentally dashed out there. I wanted to do a super. And this is so yeah, this isn't the normal path that you would go if you're doing the A side, but we're going to be going to the B side here.
Going into a secret little tunnel to get to the cassette tape here.
And right here I'm going to dash on the ground here. This just saves IGT time. It doesn't save anything in RTA, but it saves time in IGT, and again, that's what we care about, so.
Yeah, neat little workaround there. Whenever you dash, it does briefly freeze the in-game timer, I think for about 3 frames. So you get to squeeze a little bit of time save out in the cassette rooms in particular, because they're locked to the music, and the music keeps going. It doesn't get interrupted.
Oh.
So yeah, just getting more dashes in those rooms saves more time.
Alright, so coming up as a... Okay, that was cool. Coming up is a trick known as Bub's Drop, which is a very important trick, and it is also, again, pretty hard to do. I have a specific way of doing it that thankfully is pretty easy because I play on controller. But yeah, if you want to explain how that works while I do it here.
Yeah, so Bub's Drop, we're going to enter a room in the ceiling here, but then do a very tiny jump to get back below from where we came in an unintended way. With the pause buffer.
Right. Well, that sucks. We are going to return to map and try it again, because again, it looks cool if I get it, so.
Yeah, and it would. I think this actually does even save time RTA to go back and return to map here and try again. But yeah, it's going to be we exit that room in an unintended way by going back below this jump through at the start.
There we go. Okay, second try. Nice. We'll take it.
Yeah, and this death warp moves us to this side of the screen, skipping an entire key worth of gameplay that happens on like the other side of the level. So that saves somewhere in the range of 25 seconds over doing it the other way.
Yeah. So we skip that key by doing that, and then we're going to skip another key by doing that. Which that's pretty tight to go for, but that's the way I like to do it. There's another way you can do it where you can do a reverse off of the button. Whoops. Come on. And then do that to skip the last key. There we go. And yeah.
Another one of those jumps off of spiked walls where they're pointed the same way you're going, so they're not actually dangerous.
Yeah. And there we go. So that's like the first half of 5B, and now we're going to be getting to the second half, which goes a little bit darker now. This is the same kind of case for how for how regular Chapter 5 would work. Obviously, we didn't see the dark side of Chapter 5, but you can see this, the dark side of Chapter 5B. So.
Yeah, it's really cool that B-sides, in particular, completing them unlocks the next A-side, because that just opens up a whole new world of routing for the game.
Yeah, whoops.
Having that option is just really interesting.
That was a little awkward. I'm gonna have to... Yeah, I did not do that the way I normally ever do that, so... I'm sorry, what?
Whoa.
I have not seen that before. Alright, we're playing this very much by ear with this room. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, the Seekers can be really awkward to work around sometimes. So, things like that do happen on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can technically manipulate the Seekers if you do the exact same thing, but they change their pathing, their movement, and all that in such a granular way that even the slightest differences can throw off a whole strat.
Yeah, like right there, I haven't seen him go that high up in a while, so that was a little weird. And
All
this
right,
right here is
now-
Theo, yeah.
Yeah, Theo in a crystal. In the A side, we get a little bit more story explanation for what's going on. Here instead, we just get him giving us funny little commentary on our way through the level here. For example, this isn't canon, is it? Thank you, Theo.
Reading Theo's lines in B-side is great. My favorite part is the end where he's like, this is surely impossible, right? So if I die, then it looks less embarrassing.
Almost like he's giving you a little reassurance.
And there we go. Yeah, that's impossible, right?
Nicely done. Final room, though. Get another cassette block room.
This one's kind of hard.
Yeah, you have to carry Theo to the end here to open the golden door and get the heart. First try, nice job.
Nice. All right. All right, so now we have all 4 hearts that we need for the run. And so now we just have to beat any percent and then go on to the other chapters. So this is Reflection. This is kind of where like the quote-unquote final boss of Celeste is at, and we're going to be fighting Battlein.
Yeah, back in Old Sight, she was chasing us, but towards the end of Chapter 6 Reflection here, we'll be chasing after her instead.
Yeah, I think this is like a perfect way to do a boss fight, because all you have to do when we get to it, all you have to do is continuously just run into her. You don't have to do anything afterwards. It's just about movement.
Yeah, it feels great for a platformer like this, for sure. Big fan of how they made it.
Also, these enemies right here, or not enemies, but these platforms, they're called Kevin blocks. Shout out to Kevin. Kevin's the sound designer of this game, and there are wonderful, wonderful sound effects in this game. And then there's Kevin warbling into a microphone for these blocks and doing this.
Yeah, I'm sure if anybody of the Celeste community is in chat, you could be sharing the clip from Kevin's channel showing him warbling into a bucket to make the Kevin noises for when they're underwater.
That is also true.
Yeah, one of the funniest clips of the development of the game.
I also did not mention this before, but I have to shout her out. Shout out to Elena Rain for the amazing music in this game. The music in this game is some of my favorite in any video games. So.
Yeah, same here. My favorite track, unfortunately, is the one at the very beginning and the very first cutscene that we skipped, called Madeline and Theo. But, you know, we gotta go fast, so...
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we'll be getting to the boss fight pretty soon, but just now we're getting up to there. There's different routes that you can go here, where you can go either top or bottom, and there's different rooms, but for the most part, most people do the route that I'm doing. I think one of the rooms is slightly slower by like a second or something.
Yeah, it varies kind of wildly at this point now, because even at near the very end, I think, of the checkpoint. Oh no, rather earlier on, there's, for the most ridiculous individual level type thing, there's people who do a huge water boost to fly through a certain room, but that's just going on the craziest end of the movement in this game.
Yeah. Again, the movement in this game is very versatile and stuff like that, so if some of the strats that you are seeing are like too daunting for you, you can always just like choose a different strat for that room. It's very open in that.
Yeah, you get a lot of choices once you start to get a grasp on the tech of this game. Because of having the extra dash with the extended dashes, you just get so many options.
Alright, right here we're going to do some dev-intended shortcuts here, just to go through these spikes. I don't do the last one just because that one doesn't have a setup, and I've died too many times on it at the end of this room. Miracle on safety. And so Chapter 6 was originally all supposed to be underwater. It was supposed to be an underwater chapter, and that little section there is supposed to be an homage to what it was supposed to be. Thank God they didn't do it. And coming up is Battle Line Boost. We're going to do a bunny hop off here and hopefully skip all the way to the fight. Almost. I got pretty far.
Almost. Still some good speed there.
And this is the Battle Line fight. Again, incredible music here. I love the music in this fight.
Can I get some hey yas in chat?
If the crowd wants to say hey, go for it. And yeah, this fight's, like we said, it's very movement based. Whoops. So just keeping your momentum and stuff like that, and just going into battle line. But yeah, Battle Line has two forms of attacks that she can do. She can throw those like energy spheres at us, or she can do these lasers. And she usually goes between the two, and sometimes she does both of them. Something else that Chapter 6 introduces is those, feathers, and those are pretty interesting to use. Feather movement is usually most people use joystick for it, but I know some people who play on keyboard, and feather movement is a little bit more interesting because of that.
Yeah, having to have some people who have complete analog movement versus others who have the 8-directional movement means you have sometimes wildly different setups for how people approach the feather movement.
Yeah. This was like one of my favorite rooms, just how we chain everything together. It's really cool. I did you a favor. You weren't on a mountain climber. I was just trying to help you. There's your lore. That's all you get. We skipped so much of the story in this game, but this game also has like an amazing story.
Yeah, huge fan of the story. Unfortunately, we will be cutscene skipping almost all of it.
Yeah. But yeah,
go fast. What can I say?
But yeah, if you guys haven't played this game for some reason, please play it. It's very good. Oops. Did not dash there. Love that. Just the woos from the audience. This has been a very good Chapter 6. Oh, whoop. I did a misinput.
It right at the end here.
Yeah, I did a misinput there, but I almost died, but we're fine. Okay, and now,
nice job.
And so that's the boss, and now Madeline and Batterline are going to form, they're going to reconcile and become one super line, and here we are. And now we have 2 dashes instead of 1 for the rest of the game, or for most of the rest of the run. And yeah, that was a really good Chapter 6, like for like pretty basic strats, getting like a low 630 is very good. I'll take that.
Yeah, nice job.
Nice. I actually think I didn't die. Yeah, I had Deathless. Very good. Alright, so now it's time for Summit. You may be looking at the timer and being like, wow, only 30 minutes in. Summit, and both Chapter 7 and Chapter 9 are pretty long.
Oh yeah, Summit here can be longer, as long as like 10 to 12 minutes at times. Farewell, when we get to Chapter 9, as much as around like 20 minutes at times even. So a couple long chapters near the end here for sure. But the cool thing we get in Summit going on here, as you might be able to notice, is the theme of each checkpoint as we progress here reflects the chapters that we've played beforehand. So we're starting in Reflection still, essentially, because we just came from there. But with some help from Battling at the final room here, we're gonna get sent up to the section that mirrors City, and then the section that mirrors Old Site, and so on with each new checkpoint.
That was an unfortunate death, and it was a pricey one too. That was like 8 seconds-ish. One of the more awkward input drops I've had. Oh yeah, the other thing about this is most people run on PC. I'm like one of the few people that runs this game on Switch, so.
And one of the nice things about Celeste in particular, though, is even the absolute longest of deaths that you can get in this game, aside from Farewell, because that's a pretty exceptional option in the Farewell final room, but even the longest of deaths are only going to be at most like 15-20 seconds long. On average, any death that you take, if you're playing the 80% speedrun, for example, is probably only going to lose you about 3 to 4 seconds. So you have a lot of leniency and room for mistakes to still have like a pretty solid pace.
Yeah. And you can always make up mistakes as well, just from like movement and then cutting out deaths from other parts of the run. All right, so yeah, this, as we mentioned before, each area of Chapter 7 that it's split up into is based off of a chapter, so this is based off of Chapter 2 right now.
Yeah, and the music gets to reflect each section beforehand, plays a little bit off of its theme. It's one of my favorite parts about Celeste is just the summit theme itself, where you're playing through it and then it's progressing with the chapters as you're playing them, referencing each theme beforehand.
Yeah. Also, if we didn't mention it before, the dream blocks, you can actually jump out of them. You can also hyper jump out of them, or hyper dash out of them. And you can also, if you have 2 jump buttons, you can double jump out of them, like get 2 separate jumps out of them, which is really cool. Alright, and yeah, each of the sections ends with this little battle line section, as we mentioned before. Time for everybody's favorite. Everybody loves 1500. Again, this is based off of but okay. This one's based off of Chapter 3, so again, we're going to have more wonderful cycles that we have to deal with. I play this one very safe, but I think it's worth it. Coming up is a room I like to call the Ultra Dash room, and it's really cool if I do it right. Unfortunately, I died before it, so I have to take this safe. All right, this is the Ultra Dash room. Nice, and that just skips getting the key coin, and then I died after again. With that. Oops. It's okay. Yeah, we get to show it again, so it's worth it. Who gets to say that they did the Ultra Dash room perfectly twice in a row in a run? Like, not too many people. Okay, come on now.
And that was just Dog Room, Franker Z.
Yeah, alright, rest in peace, Franker Z. And there we go, nice, that's 1500. A little sloppy, but it's fine. So there's a auto-scroller skip coming up here that I actually like really suck at, but I'm gonna go for it. If I don't get it, it's not a big deal, but it looks really cool. So
I believe
I usually don't do it.
A couple rooms.
Yeah, I usually don't do it in PB attempts. That's how much I'm bad at it. So, but again, it looks cool and it looks flashy, so I want to show it off. It's in this next room here. Ooh, nice. Okay, I got it. Good.
Really close at the end there. Auto-scroller skip. Well done.
All right, and yeah, the next section is going to be the last one based off of Chapter 5, and it also has some really cool skips in it as well. One that saves 9 years, actually, so that's cool. I also played this part a little risky by dashing there. A little close to the spikes.
Yeah, we cut it close pretty often, but you know.
That is true.
There's more safety than it looks like. Madeline's hitbox is a little bit more generous than what you see. For example, like, her hair, I think, is almost entirely not part of her hitbox.
Yeah.
And her feet have a couple pixels where if those are touching spikes, but the rest of you isn't, you're still alive.
It's mainly just like her middle torso, yeah. Okay, can I dash correctly? Thank you. So I have pause also mapped to my R stick for how I do bubs drop. So sometimes I accidentally nudge my R stick, and it messes it up a little bit. Oh. These moving platforms when we dash sometimes throwing me off. All right, so right here is key skip. We have to do 2 spike jumps in a row. Hey, nice. First try. I'll take that.
Nice work. Yeah, those ones are a little bit harder than some of the other spike jump type things in the game because those are spinners, which will kill you no matter which direction you're coming to them from.
Yeah, and then coming up pretty soon is door skip. It's a really hard skip, and it saves 9 years. So if we don't get it, it means the run's over. But if I get it, it's hype. Here it is. Okay, that one didn't count because I didn't actually go for it. That's 1, and then that's 2. Nice. Okay. In actuality, that saves 1 whole second. But it looks cool, and everybody has to go for it. So it saves 9 years. So the run's valid, so we're good. All right, everybody in the audience, I need your help. We're gonna start going through these flags. I need you to yell them out as we come on them. So shout out the numbers whenever they get grabbed. 29. Don't worry, some of them are going to be very close together. It's going to be great. Okay, that was a dumb death. I am letting the chat do, or the audience do all the work. Oh yeah, I skipped some. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there are a few that we can just kind of fly by here, no problem. The counting is not perfectly even, typically.
Yeah. Someone just said 9 plus 10. You just dated yourself. Congratulations. So yeah, these flag sections are split into 3 different sections. There's downwind, upwind, and then neutral wind. Like so, yeah. We're skipping this one. This is your time to pay attention, and you have to like know which number's coming up. Those 3 are so close together. And yeah, this is the end of the 90% portion, by the way. So after this, that's when the true ending part of the run starts.
And we did get all 4 hearts that we need already, so that's going to be no issue heading into the core.
What was that?
After this chapter.
That was a weird death. Like, I guess my controller drifted because I didn't hold right there. Should I go for 10 skip? I'm gonna go for 10 skip just to anger them. I got it. I didn't hit the flag. You can't say 10. We skipped 8. Well. Yeah. Who would go for 8? 8's just so out of the way. So I got a 36 for any percent at last pace, and I had to get 4 hearts and go out of my way to get those. So honestly, this is a pretty good 80%. Did you really say 3 again? The 1, yes. I didn't hit it. I skipped it.
Can we get a flag 1 skip even?
No, I'm not flag 1 skip.
All right.
And that's why you don't do flag 2 skip. All right, one more time for the fans. You know, the game really wants me to hit flag 2, so you know what? There you go. There you go. I appeased them. My favorite thing from last pace. My favorite thing from last pace was everybody was counting down the flags, and as soon as I skipped 2, I just heard everybody go, "What?" And that is any percent done at 37.
Nicely done.
Not the worst. An 11-minute summit was not what I wanted, but that's okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go past any percent. Scandalous, I know. And 30 deaths so far. That's not too bad. All right, so now we have Core. Core is a very interesting chapter. This was the last chapter in the base game until it got updated with the DLC chapter afterwards.
All right, coming up very soon here, you'll start to see that we aren't regenerating our dashes anymore. That's going to be one of the main mechanics of Core here, is that instead of having your 2 dashes regenerate every single time you touch the ground, you're going to have to be much more sparing and specific with how you use them to get through here. So this becomes a lot more of like a puzzle chapter almost.
Yeah, Core's really cool. I'm just not a big fan of it, really. But it's got its moments. There is a really cool skip we're going to do in Core to skip a lot of it. Coming up right here, we're going to do this. Hey, first try. Nice. Okay, cool.
Nicely done.
That's Core skip.
Neat little ice skip there. Normally you have to go and do multiple rooms that take almost like 40 seconds going all the way around to the right to flip the switch to ice and get through there. Just say no. Go through the fireballs with a pretty precise timing.
And now we just go ahead and do the rest like normal. But yeah, so this chapter is pretty short, but don't worry, the next chapter is the longest and hardest chapter. So it was added after the game originally released, about a year after the game came out, and it basically concluded all of the story and stuff like that, and also gave a pretty challenging chapter. When I first played it when it came out, it took me 4 hours to beat, and now it's down to 20 for me. My best is a 21, I'm pretty sure. And they actually teach you how to do extended dashes in it, which we've been doing in the speedrun, but it's very hard for casuals to do, so it's a huge difficulty curve for everybody once we get to that part of that chapter.
Yeah, definitely a sudden difficulty spike. That's from like basically just a third into Farewell, where they start expecting you to be able to use that.
Yeah, it's also it has the longest screen in the game at the very end. We call it the Old Site room. Old Site is chapter 2 in this run, and the reason why we call it that is because it takes the same amount of time to do an any percent IL of Old Site as it takes to just beat that one room. So that'll be fun, and it has no checkpoints. So if I die, I have to do it all over again, and that's how we end the run. So it's a very scary ending. And this room right here is really cool, flipping back and forth between hot and cold. I really liked it. Really cool mechanic in Core.
Yeah, definitely pretty fun having the extra pressure of running away from the fire and ice chasing after you at the bottom of the room here.
Yeah, the next section of the last section here is coming up is the one that I think is the coolest, where like there's rising and lowering lava/ice on the
you have the lava sandwich going.
Yeah, and you have to change it from going up and down. Yeah, so right here, as you see, we hit the switches, and it switches from going up to down. I keep my dash there so I can do a hyper and just skip all of that down there. Very nice. You're supposed to use the bumpers there, but who needs that? We can just hyper dash.
Yeah, you aren't supposed to learn the hyper dash as far as the game teaching you is concerned until a chapter much later on that was part of the base game, having hypers in Core Seaside,
yeah.
Which you only unlock Seasides and Core C in particular after having beaten every single other level in the entire game, including getting all of the extra collectibles.
Yeah.
So in the vanilla game,
Oh,
Hypers was basically the last thing they ever teach you.
I suck at this room. Like, I just feel like it's always different. I don't know why.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a tight room to get through.
Yeah.
But
And
second try.
yeah, this room coming up is really cool because it's really floaty, and we get to keep our dashes now. So we're gonna chain a bunch of them together and keep a lot of speed from ultras.
Yeah, I think the debug room name for this room is Space. That might be the one in 8B, though. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, there's another one just like this in 8B. But under 5 minutes for core is pretty good. All right, it's time for the true ending, Chapter 9. So there's actually some really hard skips we have to do in Chapter 9, and they are the biggest skips in the game. But in my opinion, they're also the hardest skips in the game, too. So basically this entire chapter is basically the whole. It was just a dream thing of us going through the mourning of a lost loved one. And yeah, like I said, they added this completely for free to Celeste. If you have Celeste, you have this chapter, and it's pretty meaty. Like I said, in a speed run, it takes 20 minutes. Your first casual playthrough will take anywhere from like 4 hours to, for some casual players, I know it took them like 8 hours because they never speedrun it before. Speedrun the game.
Yeah, having a prior speedrun experience and exposure to the tech for the few people who were speedrunning Celeste. Well, not the few people. There were a lot speedrunning it back when the game first came out. That's definitely not the right thing to say. But for the people who were speedrunning it before Farewell came out, having exposure to all the tech beforehand was definitely a huge advantage when they expect you to start doing some of it for the actual level later on.
Yeah. And we're getting introduced to some new mechanics if you want to explain them.
Oh yeah, so the fish right here are essentially a combination of some mechanics that we've seen before. Kind of a mix of the ice balls where you're able to bounce off of them and the bumpers where hitting the side of them explodes you in a direction. So it's a little bit of a 2-in-1, and when you bounce them they can get knocked down to different positions on occasion.
Yeah, this.
So what we got for the fish boosting.
A lot of this this chapter 9 is has a very like underwater sort of vibe to it, with how it looks and also with the enemies in it.
It's like an aquarium in space.
Yeah. What more could you ask for? And we're going to get introduced to another thing here with these jellyfish. These are the most exploitable. We're actually going to skip the first one here, because I go down here. It's slightly slower, but I prefer it. And yeah, these jellyfish are very exploitable, so we're going to use them to skip a good section, a pretty long section in Chapter 9 here, coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of mechanics that are available through manipulating the jellyfish well.
Yeah, the main one is the Jellyvator, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which we're going to use here to kind of take this jellyfish up into this room when we're not quite supposed to, and hopefully going to use it to skip a lot of the early portions of this room where you're supposed to get keys, and instead just go straight up to this power box and take it around.
That's the easy part. That's part 1. Now the hard part is this part. So this is, in my opinion, the hardest skip in the game, and it saves about, I want to say 2 minutes? Something like that.
Something in that range.
So let's see if I get it.
Normally you have to get 5 keys.
Hey, first try, I'll take that. Nice.
Nice work. That was Power Source Skip. That's a dev-intended skip where they just created this chute that you can take a jellyfish straight up there, and then this entire alternate route where you can just skip that 1.5, 2 minutes of collecting keys you would otherwise have to do.
Yeah, that was a very good first section of Farewell. I think that's the fastest I've gotten up there in a very long time, so.
Nice.
And now we get to this nice calm section. even though it has some of my most least favorite screens in it.
Yeah, I got the orchestra coming in now for the remembered checkpoint.
Yeah, this music right here is really nice. I really like it. And then after this section is where the craziness begins, where the game expects you to be extended dashing. That dash was really dumb. I don't like this room because this room sometimes just doesn't seem to work for me. Like
yeah,
there.
This room is really tough. Pretty awkward. This was, I think, for a lot of people, one of the rooms that you end up getting stuck on casually, almost inevitably, for a while.
Yeah, there we go.
Only took a few tries though. Nice job.
Yeah. And then this room, for some reason, I sometimes fail this. Okay, good. Sometimes I drop it too early and he throws, she throws it. So, whoops. Okay, we'll try it again. It's fine. There we go.
Oh, and just to explain a little bit more of the jellyfish tech, sometimes you will see King dropping the jellyfish in an exact spot. That's a neutral drop, where if you're holding down when you release grab, the jellyfish, you don't throw it like you normally would. And that's where how you can accomplish the jelly evaders we've mentioned a little bit before.
Yeah. It's by dropping it and then dashing up, holding grab, and it shoots you up with it. Okay, well, I didn't get to do my regular strat, but that's fine. I can just do this.
Good backup.
Yeah, thankfully there's some backups in this chapter. A lot of this chapter is just not dying, at least for me. Okay, what was that dash? And there we go. We're almost at the end of Remembered. Oh, I did not mean to get that launch. Yeah, I got launched too much. If you when they give you the boost, if you're holding away, you get a slightly bigger boost than you normally would, so it threw me off there. I wasn't expecting to get that. And we're almost done here. We're gonna get a fake heart here. The game's gonna pretend like the chapter's done, but it's not, obviously. And this is where the difficulty really starts picking up for this chapter, so it was kind of easy, but now it's not gonna be.
Oh, and to mention, we also have a heart gate coming up here. Normally you need 15 hearts. Instead, if you can already use extended dashes, you can skip right past that by just going pretty fast.
Yeah, and the game's gonna get a little trippy here.
And this is the point now where they have taught you to use both wall bounces and wave dashes by now. So they expect you to start using them here.
Yeah.
Really ramps up the difficulty of this section.
And also, once again, very good music.
Breaking news, as many people call this track.
Yeah, fair. That room sucks. This is also a really annoying one because you have to save some of the top of the Kevin block here that you can stand on, so you have enough room. And I somehow didn't. Alright, cool. We'll do it again, it's fine. It's one of the longer rooms, so it kind of sucks to fail this. From now on, most of the rooms are pretty long in Farewell. So failing them is a pretty big detriment. And once again, just doing extendeds here, like the game expects you to know. Right here, we can skip doing all of this by just hanging off the edge here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you hang on the bottom 2 or 3 pixels of this block, you can get under the spinner, which you normally wouldn't be able to do. Just skipped all the coins of that room.
Yeah, and the game actually does teach you how to do wall bounces. It teaches you in Chapter 7 B-side. That's the cool thing about this game, is that even if you just play it casually, the game does actually teach you all the speedrun strats. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah, and part of the reason that they can expect you to use wall bounces here is because normally the heart gate you need to have gotten 15 hearts to even play this part. So that would mean you would have had to complete 7B before you even come here. So wall bounces are essentially something that they have taught you already by this point.
Yeah, these next couple rooms are very annoying. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, even if you're in one of these dash blocks, like these stream blocks here, if you hit spikes, they still kill you. Also, shoutouts to this room. This was the first ever room that we saw of Chapter 9. It took a while for it to come out, and this is how we all knew that they were going to teach us how to extend it. And it's also a very annoying room, if you can't tell. You have to extend it and then wall bounce off a moving block, and I'm failing tremendously at it.
Yeah, the infamous comb room right here.
Oh my,
definitely a
come
spot
on.
that many people get stuck on casually. I can relate.
I did this like first try, and then I failed the last one, and then now I'm struggling. There we go. Okay, good. I promise it's not usually that hard. All right, and now we're getting to a nice little breather. The music's gonna do a little bit of a pause here in a second, and we're gonna get right back to it afterwards. It's kind of like the breather in between. We're gonna have a nice little feather section, but we are gonna skip some feathers. We don't need all of them. You're supposed to follow the bird, so we will. This whole thing is about chasing down this bird. This whole chapter. This is a really cool one too, where these two platforms here, they stay open when you dash into them.
The jaws of death back there.
All right, nice. And now we have bubbles, moving bubbles from Chapter 5 in wind, which is a little, very, very jarring at first. Okay, that sucks. I was supposed to do an extended off that.
Yeah, the upward wind here is making it so any direct right dash movement he's doing with the bubbles is that slight diagonal you see. So a little bit funky getting through there.
Yeah. Right here is a bit of stamina conserving. Make sure we have enough to grab this block here. Nice.
It's close.
I actually do an intentional death here, just so that these cycles are lined up. And there is actually a room specifically for speedrunners. It's a demo dash room. You have to demo dash to get into it, and it saves 4 seconds if you do it. Where is my dash? Where's my dash? Come on now. Getting this dash is a little hard. There we go. Oh, and then I failed that. There we go. Okay. All right, right here we're going to use a lot of momentum, and nice. Okay, that looks really cool whenever I pull that off.
Nice little fling with the speed of the block as it's moving along.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a lot of Battle Line boosts, but instead of just like a bunny hop, you just do a regular hyper off of it. This room is also very annoying. We have to collect these coins while dodging all this stuff.
Yeah. A little throwback to core with all the fire and ice.
Yeah.
Nicely done, first try.
I will happily take that first try. This is also another annoying room. Not this part here, but this part coming up here, because we're going to have really fast movement. And we have to hit these springs, and again, first try, I'll take that. Alright. And we're almost done this section, and then we'll be moving into our like second last section of this chapter. And the run in general.
Yeah, the current checkpoint we're in is Determination. Only got a couple rooms left in it here, and after that we will have an entire checkpoint of rhythm blocks, like the cassette rooms you've seen beforehand. that checkpoint's going to be called Stubbornness, but it will have the rhythm block cycles moving between the rooms. So there's a lot of cycle control you have to do for Stubbornness to go smoothly.
Oh, I thought the Kevin block got stuck there for a second and almost did.
Oh.
I accidentally hit my head here, so I have to do this room again.
There we go.
Alright, there we go. And we do an ultra into this room so we can make the first cycle.
Yeah, this is one of the longest rooms of Farewell here. Got a lot of feather movement to be dodging all the stars when you're along here, and some springs at the very end.
Yeah. And this is the most annoying part of this room. I'm going to explain it right up here. This part right here, if you grab Battle Line and still run into those stars, it still kills you. So that really sucks. Alright, but now we move on to Stubbornness. Which is, again, you go through all of that and then you get to this. It's just like very interesting pacing, but I like it. It's a nice little calm after the storm.
Yeah, you got the much calmer music and the constant ticking, though, in the background. A little bit of intended musical anxiety, I believe.
Yeah. Alright, very nice. And again, we're just like going to the time of the music. We can skip a few beats, but for the most part, I'm just going to the time. There you go. That one's a little hard to get in that block and stay in it.
Nicely done.
Oh, whoops.
Oh yeah, and
okay.
if you overlap some of the blocks while they're supposed to be active, you can prevent them from becoming active until you come out the other side. So there are certain times we take advantage of that to be somewhere we probably shouldn't be.
Yeah. And now we have to hyper dash off these blocks right before they disappear. And keep our dashes here so we can just dash through that. Nice. And this is the end of Stubbornness.
Yeah, nice job. Was that Deathless Stubbornness?
That was, yeah. That was pretty good.
Very good.
All right, and so now we are now working together with both Battle Line and the Bird to escape from this area. So this is the end of Chapter 9, basically. We still have a couple minutes until the actual end of the run, just because of the fact that the final screen takes 2 minutes. But yeah, now this is the escape sequence, and so we get the vertical height from Battle-In, and we get the horizontal boost from the Bird now as we're working together with them, which is really cool. And they're working with, but sometimes they and unintentionally try to throw us into danger.
Yeah, and this section has my favorite song, one of my favorite songs, I guess, in the entire game, called Farewell. Oh, I think it's like a 9-minute track.
It is, yeah, but it's very good.
Yeah, I really love the sort of finale they got going for you here with this track.
That was a good save there. I had the Jellevator there by accident, but it's fine. There we go, nice. Oh, that's not good. I didn't get my dash. So my PB for this category, by the way, I got it right before pace, is a 101. But I think we're on pace for like a 103, so I'm happy with that. Like, I'm very content with that if we get that.
Yeah, definitely holding pretty close here.
Yeah, I think it was just like the middle chapters mainly. This has been a pretty good farewell overall. I say as I do that.
Oops.
I did not mean to grab that block, like, at all. I actually don't really know the death cycle as much, but it's fine. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, you got it. We're gaming.
I also just love the flow of this section. It really flows together really well. Right here, we're going to bounce on the fish's head to skip that spring.
Yeah, regarding the flow of reconciliation checkpoint here, I think their intent with it was definitely to make it so that you're almost constantly moving forward. So it's a pretty welcome change from the feeling of some of the other sections.
We do a little skip there. We skip going into battle line. It's pretty risky to go for, but I have never died doing it, so. Weird flex, I know. Same here. We're going to skip going into battle line here. This room's kind of annoying. I really don't like this one. That was stupid. I got the
unfortunate boosted climb jump.
Yeah, I got the momentum from the block there. There we go. I'll go out of my way to wait like an extra second there. But yeah, I did say that I was aiming for anything under a sub, anything around a 105 or below that, so we're on pace for that. I really don't like this room either. It's just a big auto scroller and it's pretty easy to die on. And once again, another a good showcase of the fact like, hey, yeah, you need to know how to extend it or else you're not going to be able to play this.
Yeah, a whole room of practically expecting you to get wave dash after wave dash here.
Yeah, and this ending too. If you don't get that, that sucks. Oh, whoops. And so this area, this room right here, I think every single one of these gaps is like 3 pixels wide. So like, it's very little space to dash. You need to be very precise with your dashes. Like right there, I think I was like 1 pixel off. So.
Second try though, nice
Yeah,
job.
I'll take that. Okay, that's whatever you say, game. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, definitely another infamous room here with those fish at the very beginning.
There we
Getting
go.
really close to the end of the chapter now, though.
Yeah, this is the
Only a
third
couple
last
more rooms.
room, yeah. Nice wall bounce that I meant to do. But yeah, so coming up is the longest room in the game. Okay, can I get the wall bounce? I'm getting everything but the easiest part in my opinion, which is the wall bounce here. There we go, thank you. But yeah, like I said, coming up is a room that is 2 minutes long, no no checkpoints. So if I die at all, I have to redo the whole thing. So I'm gonna go serious time for it, and time is gonna be at the very end of it when the chapter timer goes green. So we're on pace for like a 105, which is fine for me. I'll take that.
Good luck, King.
Thank you. I almost died there. We're good though.
Time for fish chimney.
Yeah, these fish can be a little annoying.
Easy breezy.
We'll take it. But yeah, this is a great way to end the run, but it's terrifying too. It's like terrifying to end the run on this. Oh, that sucks.
No. Accidentally bonked.
That I have not seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen that. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, very tough room, but I believe you got this. Second try, you can do it.
But yeah, like I said, no checkpoints, so I'll have to do that whole thing over again. It's okay. You always gotta expect one death, especially in a marathon. Especially when something like that happens. I've never seen that before. All right, let's try this again. There we go. That's what I wanted to do last time. But it's okay. We got it. And now this last section here. There we go. All right, nice. And get ready on time here. And time.
GG.
Considering the death in the last room, I'll take a 106. Like that was like a minute and a half death at the end. So yeah, that's a 106.48 in-game time. So yeah, sorry for going like 20 minutes over RTA or under RTA estimate, but there you go. And I'll do a death check, death count check, just to see what we were at.
Just pop by the journal real quick.
Yeah. 34 in farewell. Honestly, 34 in farewell isn't that bad. Like, I'll take that. Woo!
Such a long chapter, yeah.
So yeah, 65 deaths. That's honestly not too bad. I'll take that. But yeah, that was Celeste. Huge shout outs to the developers for making such an amazing game. Noel Berry, Maddie Thorson, and all the people who helped out on this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely play it if you haven't. We also have a speedrun server if you want to run any percent, true ending, all red berries. Thank you to the crowd for coming out at 9:30 in the morning for this. I appreciate it. But no, thank you, GSA, for having me. I did the Mario Kart 8 LTA yesterday. That was really fun. I did this, and then tomorrow night, I'm doing the 70-person 70-star relay, which is going to be awesome. So make sure to tune in for that. Thank you, Prof, for joining me. Do you have any last comments?
No, thank you for having me. You know, this was a fun time. Glad to see Celeste showcased in more places.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, enjoy the 16-star LTA, guys.